It's Deprogram, the podcast where we try to get you into a band. That's right, we've done all the work for you. All you have to do is push play and listen. And, you know, maybe you could say that I'm band curious. I'm trotting that out. I don't think any of the episodes I've said that have come out yet, so I don't know if it's working or not. So we'll find out. We'll see how long it actually sticks as part of the intro. But I never want to come back down from this cloud that I've been in since we started listening to Bush. We're talking about Bush today. And man, oh man, when I'll get back to this like when it's my turn, but what the H, man, with the hate on Bush. So this is a discussion we kind of had on the after the fact for Tool. Like we kind of talked a little bit about it, but it came up in conversation on the Deprogram Discord. Bryan, you said, "Hey, Bush." Yeah. So how did that come about? Like what brought you back to listening to Bush, which made you put it up into the Discord?
I was going, I do this constantly. I was going through my Spotify, and then I was looking for certain bands, and I was trying to look up what like the deprogram list was on them, so I can get angry about it. So I was actually my number 32 band lifetime on Spotify is Bush, which surprised me too. And I was like, oh, let's go see what the list says. I want to go, bash it. And then I was searching through the spreadsheet, and I hit Bush into the search like 3 times. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I can't find it. So I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, it's not here. And it came up, and I was like, how can one of like the biggest bands of the '90s like not been done yet? Like, like you mentioned, they get hate. I don't know why. So 16 Stone came out in 1994, one of the arguably one of the greatest years for music in general. Just so many great albums came out that year, and 16 Stone was one of the top ones. So it's weird how he wasn't up there, but so whenever I get an opportunity to talk about a 90s band, I'm gonna do it. So I figured we had to get Bush out there.
Yeah, we had to correct that toot sweet. And I believe like almost immediately, Peter, you jumped in and you were like, yeah, I'm in for Bush. So Bush, talk to me about it.
Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you were a teenager in the 90s, MTV kind of informed a lot of what music you liked. Mm-hmm. So Bush came out and I was like, these guys are good. I got the album and I liked 16 Stone. And then like almost really quickly there was this backlash towards them. They're like, people were just like, oh, they're just ripping off Nirvana. And I was like, not really. In one song, which I'm sure we'll get to later, I think, yeah, but for the most part, they were just kind of doing their own thing that just happened to be similar to Nirvana. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like I liked their vibe, and there was like a certain earnestness to them that they had that a lot of post-grunge bands didn't have. And I really liked Razor Blade Suitcase. I thought that was a brilliant follow-up. And I liked the Science of Things when it came out, but then I kind of fell off after that because just state of music was changing around that time.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So again, like in short form, I believe this must have been early in the day because Christian, you jumped on and you said, yeah, man, I'd like to talk about Bush as well. Again, this came about really quickly. So Bush, talk to me about him.
Yeah, I got involved in the conversation. I saw the chat about Bush, and I think I said that I liked them. I don't actually think I ever formally put myself forward. No, but do you know what? I'm absolutely stoked to be, because I was gutted because I thought there was usually it's usually a 3-person panel, isn't it? But I was like, no, amazing, because I feel like I have to represent for the Brits here. Yeah. And I think similar to Peter, actually, it was, I've talked about before on another episode, but massive grunge kid, and we'd heard about Bush being really successful in the States, but as you may know, they didn't really do a lot over here, certainly not at the beginning, and I don't think they've ever been anywhere near as successful in the UK as they were in the US. And yeah, we'd heard about them, and one of my friends had relatives in Cleveland, I think, and used to go over every couple of years to the States, and he came back with 16 Stone, and we were really intrigued, and we listened to it, and we'd heard the bad side of things as well, where people were sort of writing them off as grunge rips and Nirvana rips and that kind of thing. And we listened to it, and exactly the same as Peter, we thought, not really. And we were like, no, do you know what? These guys are really good. They rock. And we felt a little bit of that kind of, they're Brits representing over the other side of the pond. And, we wanted to go into bat for them, really. So I like them ever since. Again, I loved Razorblade Suitcase. I don't know why, but I completely missed Science of Things, but then jumped back on again for Golden State, and then off after that. So it was good because it made me fill in this sort of exercise made me fill in my gaps, and I'm glad I did, because I've discovered some songs that I didn't know that I liked that made my list. So.
Well, that'll obviously be the interesting part of it, and we didn't include everything, but we'll get to that part. I want to put this out here, because I'm not going to be saying anything new here. 16 Stone. Somebody once on the bus in my 9th grade year literally said, because I think my mom had 16 Stone, so I didn't technically consider it mine. What, you don't have Bush? 16 Stone was practically like handed out, like everybody had it. Everybody loved 16 Stone. And I was one of those guys that kind of, I didn't write them off, but I definitely was like, okay, I'm done. There's like 6 huge singles being played like constantly. And, that part of my life, that was definitely a turnoff. And so I tuned them out more than anything. I didn't back off of them, but I'll be the third person to say I loved Razorblade Suitcase. And I think it's kind of like an opposite thing. I don't think Suitcase got like a ton of hate, but it did feel like it could be my Bush album. It made me feel like I was on board with it, not just because everybody else was. It was just because it was a little bit more suited towards what I'm looking for from a record. We've talked ad nauseum about how much I love Albini on the show, but he did produce Suitcase. So just sound wise, that was the one for me. And I've always gone to bat for it. And everyone's like, oh, you like Bush? Which I want to bring that part up here. Man, oh man, I ask every week, every time we do, there's a band coming up, what do you consider essential? And I always expect the, none, from like almost every band. And, you get those. This one, I got a couple of George W. Yeah, very funny. But the amount of, one person said, did you mean to type Rush? Because if you didn't, this doesn't make sense. Fuck you. Like, no, I didn't mean that. And I'm not coming on here as, I'm a super Bush fan. It's just, that's what we do here. That's what this show is shining a light on a band. And all it would have taken was looking at my profile and going, oh, okay, this isn't a guy just, I guess they just wanted their 30 seconds or, here's the attention you ordered. But I got a lot of people saying none, absolutely nothing. Again, the one guy saying, if you didn't mean to type Rush, then you're wrong. And it's just like, why are you wasting your time with this? And more so, why? Like, I truly don't understand why people hate Bush on this level. I don't know if anybody has any insight on that. I'll open it up before we get to the next level.
I mean, they're not Creed. Like,
yeah, but they get the same amount of. It feels like they get the same amount of hate as Creed. No.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. But I mean, like with Creed, I feel like I can see that why the hate, because I don't know. Like I said, Bush just has like sort of an earnestness that I don't think Creed has.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it still persists to this day is weird to me. Like we haven't gone back and done like a reevaluation of them in any sort of way. Like, I don't know. I guess because they haven't had a hit album in a while, so like, I guess people's hate persists because of that.
I would guess that if anything, that would make it go away just because they went away. Like, you know, I mean, they didn't go away, but they went away from like the mainstream. Does anybody else have any insight on this Bush hate?
Yeah, I think it's lazy and easy criticism. Really, I think there was a movement that we've alluded to that they were bandwagoners on the grunge scene, and I think it's easy to jump on that, jump on the bandwagon about being on the bandwagon, and to write them off. And I think those people probably haven't really listened to them because they're a much better, as we hopefully will establish by the end of this episode, they're a much better band than I think that kind of press makes out. And I think what doesn't help as well is the fact that Gav's a good-looking boy. Yeah. He had a super famous wife, and the other three are just guys. I don't mean that. Do you know what I don't mean that musically. Right. I mean it in terms of it. It's easy to label Bush as a pretty singer and some session musicians, which is rubbish. But it's that's an angle I think people take as well who haven't necessarily listened to the music.
I think you're really onto something there, because one of the image that persists of Bush to me is I believe is at some point Gavin playing Glycerin on stage in the rain by himself, right? And at the time I'm thinking, man, that's pretty cool. Like this dude is just out here on his own. But, it's this handsome fella, all wet from the rain. And it becomes about looks rather than music. So I think you're onto something there. I think it's Go ahead.
My response to that is like, look at Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder and Kurt Cobain. They're all really good-looking guys who didn't get this kind of backlash.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. So I didn't know that Bush wasn't big in the UK. Like they weren't as big in the UK as they are here.
Nowhere near.
And they don't. I never really thought about it until you said that. But when you think about like the Britpop that was popular here in America at that time, like Blur, Oasis, Radiohead, none of it sounds like Bush. Like it almost sounded like was almost like Bush was like pretending to be like a grunge band, like they're pretending to, you know what I mean? Like was that like
and that's a really important point actually from my personal kind of liking of Bush, because I mentioned I was a grunge kid, so there was the Britpop, as you say, at the same time, and I liked the Britpop to a certain level, but it didn't speak to me. Like I always sort of said, musically I should have been born an American. My taste is completely American, as opposed to British. I appreciated bands like Blur, Oasis, but there were loads of Britpop bands around at the time, all had that similar kind of sound, which I was just like, oh really? But Bush was that kind of, that's why I was keen to, as I say, to support them and to get into them, because it was a British band that sounded American. And so for me, that was that, the Brits are doing it, but we're doing it in the way that I like. So I really like that about them. I think that's a really, really good point that needs to be understood. They were bucking the trend of British music at the time, which maybe led the British market to kind of turn their back on them a little bit, because it was all about the sort of the kinksy type influence around Britpop and not the kind of the hard rock. I mean, saying about them not being well known, Gavin Rossdale was a judge on a show. I think you have it in the States. It's called The Voice, where you have people on chairs that turn around. So I think he was a judge on The Voice a couple of seasons ago. And I think if he hadn't, he's become a sort of a bit more well known for that and from being married to Gwen Stefani. So like my mum knows who he is. But if it wasn't for that, if it was just for the music, the ordinary person in the street wouldn't know who he was.
It's endlessly fascinating, but let's start getting into the meat and potatoes here, because what we're really here for is the music. And as you can tell, like there is this trend of Bush sucks. We're here to prove that that's not the case. We took the first 6 records. We left off, I think 3, it may have been 2, but I think we looked at, what it would have taken to do all of it, and we're like, that's a little too much. So we did the 4 that the 4 of us are relatively familiar with, plus 2 is the way we looked at it. So, Bryan, as you're going through this, like, what are you looking at to pluck together for your 20?
Well, we're trying to. I mean, everyone knows the first 2 albums, and we're trying to prove that, you can dig deeper on this band. And in that same breath, half my list is from the first 2 albums.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I have 10 songs off the first 2 albums. I hadn't listened to Golden State in a long time. And I was really happy going back on that one. And so when I was going through the last 2 albums were almost pure discovery for me. I've heard a couple of these songs here and there. When I was going through my list, I was trying to find the songs that were on the later albums that had the same feel as the first 2. If that makes sense. So one thing that really stands out to me in the first 2 is the guitar tone. I didn't even look up the name of the guitarist. I think his name is Nigel. I'm pretty sure. But the guitar tone, and I'm going to point that out in a couple songs, that he uses in the first couple albums is just so good. So whenever I heard that, or I heard something that sounded like it could fit on the first 3 albums, I grabbed those. So I know there's a lot of singles. I mean, 3/4 of 16 Stone is singles.
Yeah.
And there's 5 singles off of Razor Blade. So a couple of singles, it was kind of like the same thing, just pick and choose, which single stood out to me more. I couldn't take them all, because then that'd be like my whole list. So that's where it's going to be tough, I think, is figuring out who took which singles over other ones, and see how it goes.
Well, same question to you, Peter. Like, as you're going, again, this came together pretty quickly. So what were you looking at as you're putting your 20 together?
I had about 11 or 12 from the first 3 albums that were non-negotiables that just had to go on there. And then after that, I was just like, all right, let's check out, Golden State and these last 2 albums and see what I can pluck from there. And also, it was nice to go back to The Science of Things and Golden State, because I didn't really give those a fair shot when they came out. Like, I did like The Science of Things a bit, but like I didn't listen to it as much as I did the first 2.
So same question to you, Christian. Like, again, this ended up happening in like a 2-3 week frame. We didn't have a lot of time to mull over anything. What were you looking at as you're putting your 20 together for this?
I had about 6, 7, maybe 8 locks that I didn't have to think about. And then from then on, I went into it with an open mind. I wasn't trying to look for anything, any particular theme. I wasn't deliberately trying to get a spread. I went into the kind of the discovery albums, which for me were Science of Things, maybe half Golden State, and all of the other ones. But when I came out the other end, I actually had a reasonable spread.
Wow.
So that was fine. There were 2 songs in particular, which I will mention if and when we come to them. I think we will. That I really didn't want to put on my list, but I felt that I had to,
okay.
And I really struggled with it. And I was like, do I go with my own is this my list or is this the list?
Ooh,
and
yeah.
For the last couple of days, I've been flip-flopping either way. So, yeah. So 8 locks, nice spread, and then had a real battle for the last 2 spots. But we are where we are.
So, I'm almost in lockstep with what Bryan said. Those first 2 records are where like the true gold is, and I think in part what we're trying to prove here is people wrote them off as 16 Stone, and they never paid attention to the songs to begin with. So it's like, no, go listen to this. Stop what you're doing. Stop with the act. Listen to the song, and then you'll realize that maybe I was a little harsh. But those, man, like I could have easily just made my list 16 and Razorblade and called it a day. And I will say, Signs of Things, Golden State to Repeat were very good. I was very pleased with how those went. I do have a couple from each of those. The last 2 that we took, I kind of was looking at the same thing. I had a lot on my first pass. I really did. And, it's just, as I'm going through them, I'm like, do I really want this from Man on the Run versus something that really, truly might ramp somebody up from Razorblade? Like, that's kind of how I balanced it out. And I ended up with not much off the last 2. So I'm very front heavy and very single heavy, because I truly believe, and even me, like, especially with the singles from 16 Stone, like coming back to those now at this point in my life, realizing that I've kind of, again, I hate to use the term written them off, but because that's not the case, but I definitely did not pay them any mind anymore. Like I did not pay attention to those songs anymore. So coming back to those now for this and going, oh yeah, these are great. and being okay with that. That's the great part of this show is being okay with something that you may have, had a bit of a distaste for at one point in your life. So
can I come in on that one just
Sure.
quickly before we move on? I had that exact same thought about 16 Stone, in that it doesn't always happen with bands that I think that they pick the best singles.
Yeah.
But I think 16 Stone, I think Bush or whoever was picking the singles for them did a really good job in
Absolutely.
picking the singles, because I think that, it, as I say, it doesn't always happen, but I think they are strong, as you said. So I had that exact same mindset looking at 16 Stone.
So that being said, this could be a bloodbath or it could be over quick. Like I feel like there's enough out there that could make this a quick one, depending on how cute we try to get with our lists. Bryan, how many do you think we get through for the unanimously for the final say?
I had originally thought 5, but now I'm not too sure. I'm gonna stick right down the middle. I think because there's so many singles that we have to at least agree on 3 or 4 of them, and then we'll probably have like a surprise song that we had no idea that anybody else would like except for ourselves.
So you're sticking to your guns. 5. All right, Peter, what do you think?
I'm always wrong on these, but I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go 8.
It does feel like I would not be in the least bit shocked if it's 8, right? Like there are 8 songs that we could very easily agree on, at least. So that doesn't feel high at all. Rounding out the 10 will be the harder part, I think. Christian, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel the same. I've felt quite bullish on this one all along. I think they're one of those bands where the quality will come out, and I think we'll be quite consistent on them. The only thing that gives me pause is it's a 4-person panel,
Right.
and it's always harder, right? So, I'm going to go with my lucky number 7.
All right, I like it. All right. 9 does feel too high. 4 feels too low. So I'll take the easy way out. I'll cop out. I'll take the 6. It's right there in the middle, right between y'all. I'll take the 6, and we'll see what we can do there. And we're going to take a quick pause. When we come back, it's time to play the game. And with that, the name of the game is Deprogrammed. The 4 of us have come through most of Bush's discography and plucked out 20 songs in an attempt to create a top 10 starter kit for you. Wait, I forgot a part. We plucked out 20 songs each that we're now going to mash together in an attempt to create a top 10 starter kit for you in case you are a jerk on the internet and crying about Bush not being good. I mean, yeah, it's kind of for you, I guess. This is definitely one of those things. This is a song I don't want to say I had forgotten about, but it's definitely a song that I'd forgotten how much I liked. It does the thing that I love, tells you exactly what you want about the band right out front. And it was an answer I got a lot on from the positive answers on Threads. So I'm going to go with Everything Zen.
I've got it.
Yep, I have it.
I have it too.
You have to, right? Like,
yeah, that's one I actually didn't have it originally. And then I'm like, no, this is the first single. I you have to.
I'd forgotten, like, because it has that first opening riff, the da-na-na-na,
Yeah, exactly.
right? And then it just bounces into this grunge groove, and you're like, okay, yeah, I know what's up here. I know what I'm getting, and it rocks. To Christian's point before, like, the singles on this record are just so good, and this is the first one. It tells us what the band is. It's got nonsense lyrics, but it also talks about Gavin's asshole brother in Los Angeles. So, win-win, if you ask me. All right. 1 in, and I won't get too happy until we get a couple more, but that feels good right there. So, Brian, where do you want to go?
All right. Yeah, I do want. Yeah, that guitar tone when he first comes in, that's the sound.
Yep.
That I wanna hear with Bush. So you know what? Just so I have, you say never start with favorites, but I don't care. I have some favorites I'm starting with. My favorite song on 16 Stone has that guitar, that screaming verby guitar. It's not a single. It's my favorite song on the album. Body.
I don't got
Nope.
that.
No.
Right into the bin.
Yeah. That's why we don't start with our favorites. But I feel like we
have another favorite I'm gonna play too.
Yeah, I think we have. I think we might have some wiggle room on this one though. So, all right, Peter.
I'm gonna play it safe so I don't feel bad for my first time. Calm Down.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I have it too.
Yeah. Again, you want to talk about songs. I think this one's closer to like I had just kind of forgotten about. And then I certainly forgot how much I loved it. Hold on, let me get it cued. It's got that opening bass riff, and then again, to Brian's point, when the guitars come in, it's nonsense lyrics yet again, but I Don't Want to Come Back Down From This Cloud takes me back to 1994, while simultaneously also makes me rock now. Like this song's just a jam. I love it.
First song he wrote.
Oh,
I heard. I read somewhere this week when I was doing a little bit of background reading.
Yeah, he wrote it in 1991. So like I don't think he would have heard Nirvana at that point. Like,
yeah, not likely. And I mean, when you think about like the songs, for the record, I'm looking at this 5:27. Not that Nirvana wouldn't do a 5-minute song, but like, not exactly their MO.
yeah.
So, All right. Christian?
Okay, I didn't want to complete the 16 Stones set for round one, but seeing as you've mentioned Nirvana, I'm going to play the song that I think Peter was alluding to earlier, that was the kind of the basis of the Nirvana comparison, Little Things.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't
have it, and you are completely correct. That was the one that I was referring to.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I wrote it down. You know, it's got that 4-chord shuffle.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. It's got the bass only verse.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the pre-chorus.
Yeah.
And it's got the riffy chorus. It follows the same pattern, but I don't think it's fair, because it feels more rock than kind of punk, which I felt Nirvana was. I mean, when I say Nirvana, I haven't actually meant, obviously Teen Spirit is what I'm referring to in terms of the same pattern. But I mean, I didn't. It's only when I've been listening to it this week, I was right, that's the song that led to that whole thing. But I think it's a great song. I think it's one thing that has frustrated me with trying to pick a song for Bush, and this will probably come out in other songs, is that they've got a lot of songs where the verse is really strong and the chorus is not so much, or vice versa. Whereas I think it's one of their best combinations. The verse is really good. They've got a good lead in, and then the chorus is really strong. So I think it's a really good song in its own right.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
That's conversation, right? Is it 2 out of 4?
It's
conversation?
It's 2. So
okay.
Hanging on by a thread.
I actually cut Little Things today for Come Down.
Oh, wow. There you go.
I wanted to make a choice between the two singles, and I ended up picking Come Down.
All right, let's see. So Little Things is 2. I should probably be marking these off. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So I don't plan. All right. I'll be the first to leave 16 Stone, even though I do have a couple more. And this was an answer I got several times that actually kind of surprised me. A really weird video, and I think it is what locked me in on Razorblade Suitcase. It wasn't the lead, it was the follow-up single, and I just remember it was weird, but it got a lot of MTV play. Greedy Fly.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
Hey. There's a greedy fly in here.
That was a weird video.
Yeah.
Because it was like trying to tell a story, but I couldn't really tell what the story was.
Doesn't he become a fly? Like,
yeah, something like that.
Like, okay, well, I guess he's the greedy fly. But I mean,
they had a huge budget and it looked like a movie.
Yeah. But it is.
I love the atmosphere that it creates at the start.
Yeah, and it does. Yeah, it matches.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, you want to talk about, like, this feels very far away from the Nirvana comparisons. This song specifically, anyway, even though it has all the same elements. So, I love this one. All right.
I mean, even Steve Albini's production feels different than this than on In Utero.
Yeah. Well, you know, he famously he wanted to represent. This is the album that made me want to see Bush live. I haven't yet, but like that's why, because Albini produced it. That's what he does. So, all right.
Great lines in that song as well. That we are servants of our formulaic ways.
Yeah,
I love that line. And then the bridge, I'm screaming daisies. It's brilliant.
Make
riffy chorus.
Your mind. God, yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, Brian.
All right. Well, I struck out hard with Body. All right. You know what? I'm just gonna take the Band-Aid off. I'm gonna go with another favorite because, you know, whatever. I'm holding on to it for. So I alluded in the After the Fact from Tool that I would put this song up as like the number one with a bullet essential Bush song. Cold Contagious.
I got it.
Oh yeah.
No, it was on my first pass, but no.
We'll take that 3 though.
I'll take a 3.
Yeah.
I hate 3 better than a 1.
Yes.
But I think this was. I can't remember if this was a single. I think it was a single too. Like I said, most of these albums were so. But oh man,
Yeah,
I'll just listen to it right before we
the third
started.
single.
The whole. The whole. You will get yours.
Mhm.
Like it. Oh my god. I still don't know what it's about, but it's still good. I'm not sure what Cold Contagious is.
All right. We'll take the 3 and we'll move on. Peter.
I'm going to jump to the science of things. How about the chemicals between us?
Nope.
I do.
Okay.
No, I don't have it. Again, it was on my first pass, but it didn't make it.
That was the one I was talking about in chat where I said I got rid of one I didn't think I was going to. That was the one. It was
I think
down to like 22
I think that was
or something.
weird. Yeah, that was a weird song for them. I think that was like the lead single. I think that threw a lot of people because I think I was saying in the chat how Bush kind of went with some electronic sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They added some like electronic beats to the back, and which I don't know. I mean, Christian could speak better, but I think that almost made it more kind of leaning towards Britpop, but at the same time, it didn't work. But it's a good song. That's why I picked it. But I think releasing Chemicals Between Us as your lead single for your third album following Razorblade was just like a mistake because there's a lot of songs on there which I'll mention later, which could have been a better follow up for people, But maybe they won't let people know they were doing something different.
Well, I remember the narrative at the time was like, "Oh, Bush has gone electronic for this album," and I re-listened to it this last week. I was like, "Yeah, but only like on 1 or 2 songs. The rest is just kind of standard Bush."
Yeah, that was. I assumed Science of Things was going to be like some electronic record because let's face it, that's what was happening at the time. I think they had done the remix. What is it? Reconstructed, right? Was that in between? Razorblade and Science of Things are right around the same time because there's the remix of Mouth as well comes out I think before Chemicals Between Us. I don't know, my timeline there,
and that was a hit.
Yeah, it was a hit as well. Yeah, and so again, like actually this was before I hit record. It's like the band kind of does what they're informed by how people receive the music. And they do a follow-up, and then everybody's like, well, what the fuck are you doing that for? So it is weird. So more on that at a later point.
Oh, you know what? It came up when we were talking about Bush and the After the Fact tool. And that's right, because it was 1999. Grunge and alternative were dead or dying. That's when, we mentioned how Pumpkins they started to change their sound. That's when Adore came out.
Mm-hmm.
We were in between grunge and nu metal and Linkin Park, and we were kind of in between an area, and a couple of 90s bands were starting to experiment, and I guess that's just the one that people didn't like.
Yeah, but it gets a 2, so it gets to hang around. Christian.
Okay, I wasn't gonna. I'm segue central tonight. Another segue from something that somebody just said. You said you'd not seen them live, Justin. So I'm gonna pick a song that I have a mini story about seeing them live. That's the advantage of a British band, is you're more likely to see them in the UK. We won't talk about Pearl Jam's recent cancellation that still stings. But I saw them at Nottingham Rock City, which is quite a well-known kind of, it's just like a nightclub really in Nottingham, but it's quite a well-known venue, like all the rock bands played there. And for this song, me and Gav, we shared a moment.
Oh.
It was they were playing it, and it got to a particular line, and he just looked me directly in the eyes, and he just went, Blood is like wine, unconscious all the time. If I had it all again, I'd change it all. And I was just like, Gav, we shared a moment. So it's Machine Head.
Yeah, I got it.
I have it.
I don't.
All right, we'll take 3 there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And anything with skateboards in the video is cool in my book. Suicidal tendencies, anything with anything to do with skateboard. I'm not even a skater, but if it's got a skateboard in it, the cover of In Excess Kick, it's got a skateboard on it, is cool. And there's a skateboardy bit in the video. Yeah, it's a great song.
I think for me, it was just at the time, like, that song got so much play where I was just like, all right, can we move on to like the next album? Like, I think we're done here.
I will say it does seem to be like the one Bush song that still gets like a lot of attention. The funny thing is though, like, I have a very I have a history with this song. So briefly, I guess, much like you were just saying, Peter, like at the time I was like, can we please just move on? Something else, next record, whatever, please, just anything else. And then fast forward to my band Stale, probably 2003, 4, maybe as late as 2005. We're learning covers, and Machine Head is the one that we're learning. And I'm sunburnt because we came back up from Outer Banks on vacation for band practice, and we're trying to learn Machine Head. And for the life of me, the words keep like the second it's my turn to sing, the words just fly right out of my head, and I just throw down the mic in frustration. And ever since then, I've kind of just shut that song out of my brain. And then when I came onto it for this, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can totally get it not being through unanimously. But I am happy that it lives on to the next part of the conversation. So
yeah, it was the 6th single, so I can understand that kind of let's move on.
Yeah.
But just before we move on, I wanted to say, seeing as I've rolled out my Gav impression, accent. I love the fact that his London accent comes through in his singing. I love that about a band. So I know we've had conversations about trying to do the Beths for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be all over accents when we do the Beths episode. And I tell you what, I don't know if it's been done already, but if we ever do the Cranberries, I'm just going to lose my shit because I love somebody singing with an accent.
I think the present company is the Cranberries panel. I think.
Oh, okay.
If I recall.
Yeah, me and Peter. So going up.
Yep.
All right. Down.
All right. I'm going to do what I think is, I realized was much more of a bridge song than I remember it being. It's big. I believe it was the lead. No, I think Cold Contagious was the lead, but this was like the big single. Swallowed.
Yeah, that's a great song.
I don't.
I do. That's one of my 2. I didn't want to, but I felt I had to.
Interesting. I feel like it's like this great bridge between the 2 records because it kind of has like the same. I don't want to say like pattern of 16 Stone, but the same poppiness of 16 Stone, like the same catchiness, but the musically it's gritty like Razor Blade, and I appreciated that a lot more at this point in my life. So,
and another weird music video.
Yeah, it's like
were they playing like in a heroin house or something?
Yeah.
I'm not sure like on the stats, but for me that feels like the most well-known Bush song in the UK. So on like alternative radio and that kind of stuff, the reason why I didn't want to put it in, it's that overplayedness for me. I've heard it too many times, but when I came back to object, like some of the songs that were potentially going to replace it, I just thought, objectively, is that a better song than Swallowed? I thought, no, Swallowed, as you said, Swallowed is a great song. So, and it's very representative. So that's why it was in. So, it was just the overplayed factor for me.
I think it's interesting because, like, I think when it came out, it did get it went massive and it got overplayed, but I feel like it went away quick. Like it disappeared into the ether, and I've had to seek it out if I wanted to hear it, in the last 20 something years. So that intrigues me. All right, Swallowed gets a 3. It lives to see another day. Brian.
All right. Let's hit a deep track here. Maybe not a deep track, but if you didn't like Chemicals Between Us, if you didn't buy the album, then you missed out on the first song on the album, Warm Machine.
Yeah, man, I got it.
That was a late cut.
I have it.
Hey,
Beautiful.
we'll take that 3.
Yeah, I mean, if you heard Chemicals Between Us and you still bought The Science of Things, and then you were welcomed by a song that sounded like it could have been on Razorblade.
Yeah, totally. That's what I was going to say. It's like a warm. I mean, it's funny that it's called Warm Machine. It's like, yeah, it's a warm welcome to the record. So, by the way, this is still a Bush record. Like, have a nice seat. Enjoy it. All right, so that grabs a 3. We like it. Peter.
I'm gonna go with another deep cut, but this one from 16 Stone. Bomb.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't. Wait a minute. Hold on. Now I have to check my playlist on Spotify because I am certain I had it, but I don't see it written down. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. All right. I thought I had it, but I don't.
No, I don't have it. It was on my first pass, but it didn't make it through.
All right, we'll take the 2. Barely clinging to life, these 2s. Christian.
Okay. 2 16 Stones already, so I'm definitely going to move away. I think I mentioned earlier on that having gone through these, that the album that came out as my favorite surprised me. It was Golden State. I knew a couple of songs from there, but I'd not really given the whole album a listen. But I've come out the other end thinking that's their best album. Oh. So really? I'm going to play this song. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. I'm going to play Head Full of Ghosts.
Oh, wow. Nope.
I got it.
I don't.
We'll take the 2.
I fluffed my lines there because I meant to say, you guys are American. You must go to a lot of weddings in America. What do you do at American weddings? You stand around, which is the first line of Head Full of Ghosts.
I feel like I might have had that on my first pass. Like I said, like I'll say the last 3 records. I think I had a lot on first pass. They just, when comparing them to 16 and Razorblade, they just didn't hold up.
I think there was a lot of course correction on Golden State where they're like, oh shit, like people didn't like The Science of Things, like let's crank out a fucking Bush album.
Yeah,
there's a couple of really anthemic songs. That I like that the chorus is quite big, it's quite anthemic. I really like that song.
Well, let's stay on there then. Let's try another Golden State track. How about The People That We Love?
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, I do.
Hey.
Wow.
All right.
Formerly called Speed Kills, but they had to change the title because it came out around 9/11.
Oh.
1, 2, 3. That's 4, right? 4, okay.
Yep.
I like the false chorus that they have in that, because it kind of think, oh, okay, the things we do to the okay, but then it goes into the actual chorus.
Yeah.
The wish is safe from harm, you find yourself in a foreign, and then it's like, right. It just elevates the song. Yeah. To
Peter's point about course correction, which by the way, like now that I'm re-listening to it, it has this vague familiarity. So this may have been a single, but like
it was the first single.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't paying enough attention to know that for certain. but like now that I'm hearing it again. But like this has everything that you're looking for in a Bush song, and it's like Peter said, kind of course correction. It's like, okay, let's crank out something Bush, and boy oh boy, do they hit the nail on the head with this one. Obviously, we all agreed. So, all right, Brian.
All right. I'm gonna go deeper into Science of Things. Another just absolute banger of a song. Ridiculous title, but banger of a song. Disease of the Dancing Cats.
I got it.
Thank God somebody else had that.
Me too.
Oh, do you know what? I swear it is number 21.
Oh man.
What an interesting.
I thought that was going to be a whiff if I played that.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh my God! It was like again. It's just, you know, I was looking for those songs that bring you back to Razorblade, and Disease. It's, I mean, just a absolute tearing of a banger.
Not just the title, just the fact that the chorus has orangutans in it.
That should have been a single.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, I feel bad.
That
I was one place away from a unanimous.
that is a weird one.
Three is so good.
Yeah, but that is a weird one to land a 3 on.
Yeah.
I'm into it though. All right. Peter?
I knew I should play that.
Go back to Razorblade Suitcase. Personal Holloway.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I don't.
No, I don't.
Oh,
Oh, that
It is a
bums me.
great lead. It is a great way to start an album, though.
Yeah. Well, again, talk about nonsense lyrics. Personal Holloway, 6-month linen. What? Okay.
Paracetamol.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
There's only a handful of Bush songs that I could say that are actually about something.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Personal Holloway gets a 2. Barely clinging to life. One more 3 and it potentially could be knocked out. All right, Christian?
Okay, I'll go with Razorblade Suitcase. A tendency to start fires.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's an absolute banger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew. I got to tell
Did
you.
Peter have it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's unanimous.
It's unanimous, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was one that I almost cut out for something like later in the discog, and I just kept coming back to it. I'm like, nothing against those newer records, but is it better than this? And I'm like, no. Like, I will hold on to this one. And it also does everything I want a Bush song to do. So,
Really pleased. That was a big favorite in my friends group. That was one we all used to like really get up for when it used to come on.
nice. All right. Well, just like that, we're at Brian's 5. So, and it looks like those 2s might be dead.
No more unanimous, so I can pull Body out of the trash.
All right. Back around to me. All right, I'll try a Science of Things song. How about Space Travel?
No.
I have cut it.
Oh,
23.
oh, first time in the bin. Oh no. This is
Yeah,
like
I said earlier about some songs have strong verses but weak choruses and strong choruses and weak verses. This fell into that. The verse is amazing. None of the government. And I just thought chorus just doesn't do it for me.
yeah, I get it. All right.
But it's a great verse. It's a great verse.
All right, Brian.
All right. So I'm gonna go to my last song off of 16 Stone. Spoiler alert: no more from 16 Stone for me after this. And I can't believe no one's mentioned it. I was gonna do my awful Gavin Rossdale impression, but I was gonna say it.
Should have been easier by 3. Our old friend Fear, you and me. It's Glycerin.
I don't have it.
Really?
Yep.
I have it.
Right.
Yeah, that was the other one of the two that I didn't want to have, but I thought I can't be a dick about it, so I have it.
I initially
Yeah.
didn't have it because I remember going to so many parties as a teenager, and there would always be some asshole playing an acoustic guitar, trying to play Glycerin to impress girls.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh god. But like going back to it, I'm like, this is a good song. Like,
Yeah, and that line just always stands out for me. Our old friend Fear, you and me. I mean, just my God, I don't know. We all, like Justin alluded to, we all saw on MTV Gavin playing it by himself in the rain, in the dark, with just that light on him, and we're all like, ugh, what a douche.
Yeah.
But we all teared up, so shut up.
well,
It's really funny. You just reminded me of what you said just now about there's always some asshole with an acoustic. It reminds me of a line from a film in between his movie, and they don't use the word asshole. They use something a lot stronger, but there's always some with an acoustic guitar, and it's a great line.
All right. Well, so I might as well explain why I don't. I mean, it never even sniffed my list. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like, oh, it was 21, 22. It's one of the few songs that I have not been able to turn around on, and I don't dislike it, but it got overplayed, and I still am not over that. It's like the only one that I'm still not over the overplay. And that's literally all there is to it. There's nothing deeper. This isn't like I'm going to put my foot down of blocking it from the list. It's just I couldn't let it be unanimous type situation. So
yeah, if I'd gone the other way, that's the exact argument I'd be making. So I feel you.
All right. All right. Peter?
So we said that a song from Razorblade and the Reconstructed album, that counts, either version, right?
Right.
So I'm going to go with Mouth, either version.
I've got the Razorblade version.
Yep. I got Mouth.
No, sorry guys, I don't like it.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to take the 3.
Mouth was my angry teenage Bryan song.
Mm.
Well, I just like that, there are alternative grunge, and then like in the middle of it, they're like, hey, let's put out an electronic remix album.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Man, I'm dwindling down. I ain't got much left. Christian.
Okay, top of my list is too similar to a song that I've played and didn't get in, so I might have to switch. Well, I got a unanimous off Razorblade, so I'm going to stick to Razorblade. And Synapse.
Oh, nice. No.
I don't have Synapse, but I love that song. Although I like how you say it better. Which is probably the right way to say it, since Gavin is British.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a sleeper on Razorblade. Was it track 9 something? And I think it builds really nicely, and I don't know why, but it gives me the same kind of vibes as Greedy Fly. There's kind of a lot of space in it.
Yeah.
In the song, but oh well.
Was that?
I'm surprised. I thought that might be a sleeper hit, but I love that song.
Was that a no for you as well, Peter? Or?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Okay. Into the bin. We're doing really good on that. All right, so I think what I'm going to do, because I only have like 4 left, I'm just going to start at the top here. I know this one won't be unanimous because it's 16 stone. Testosterone.
Nope.
No.
It was close, but no.
Okay.
I have Gavin. I think I said. Oh wait, no. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. 5, 6. Okay.
All right, let's see. Okay, I have 5, not 4. My bad. I miscounted. Fugitive?
Yes.
Nope.
Nope. Made my first pass.
All right, we'll take that too, even though it doesn't do much for it. How about Float?
Yes.
I don't.
All right, we'll take the 2. All My Life?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
All right. And The Gift?
Yes.
No.
Nope.
All right.
All right.
So what was that? 5, right? So Brian's going to win.
5. Yeah. Let's go.
Brian's going to win.
That's 2 in a row for me.
And then let's shift this up. And then, Brian, you want to dump out?
Yeah. Inflatable?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Loneliness is a killer?
No.
Nope.
All right. One I'm sad to not see taken off Razor Blade. History.
It was
Nah.
close. It was close. But no.
Right. Another one off of Signs of Things. Prize Fighter.
Oh, Prize Fighter. Man, that's good.
I got that one.
Yeah, I have that.
Dang.
Okay. That's 3, right?
Yeah, that's a 3.
Yeah, I was surprised that's a 3.
All right.
What's
and then
funny is that
one-
almost would have been unanimous because that was like a 22-23 type situation for me.
my only song off of Sea of Memories, Red Light.
No.
Yeah, I have that.
Wow.
All right.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a good song. It was the best song on the album. To me, it was, it sounded kind of like the old school Bush, which kind of, why it ended up there.
All right, Peter?
Let's see what I've got left. Letting the Cables Sleep.
Yes. That was part of a ballad trilogy for me. I only wanted one out of the 3, and that's what made it. The other ones were Inflatable and All Night Doctors, but that made it, yeah.
Yeah, in my notes I put ballad that is just as good as Glycerine.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
great.
I also have Monkey.
Nope.
Okay. Alien.
Nope.
Straight No Chaser.
Nope.
God, I love Straight No Chaser.
And the only recent song I have is Heavy as the Ocean.
Nope.
I didn't think so.
All right.
That's it.
Hold on. Let me find that one real quick. Okay. All right. Just for fun, Christian?
Yeah, I want to dump out. So I said Golden State was my favorite album, so I have Superman, Land of the Living, Stand Up from Sea of Memories, and the only one from the latest one was The Only Way Out.
I'll tell you, Stand Up was really, really close for me.
Yeah, that was a really strong verse and chorus.
All right. So, 5 it is. 5 on a 4-person panel. Not bad. Ones we got in already. Everything Zen, Come Down, Greedy Fly, The People That We Love, A Tendency to Start Fires. That's already a hot 5. So let's look at these 3s and go
What
from...
wasn't People That We Love for also?
Yeah. Did I not say it? I thought I did. Everything Zen, Come Down, Greedy Fly, People That We Love, and a tendency to Start Fires. All right. So 3s. Cold Contagious, Machine Head, Swallowed, Warm Machine, Disease of the Dancing Cats, Glycerin, Mouth, and Prize Fighter. So, I mean, if you ask me, we have well over the 5. To me, the 2s are dead. I mean...
Yeah.
You hate to do it because there's some great 2s, but we have all of these 3s. Is there one kind of jumping out at you, Peter, that you kind of want to go to bat for first?
Out of the twos or threes?
Out of the threes.
Swallowed.
Yeah, I feel like that fits right in with what we're doing here. I like that. Anybody, Brian, you were the holdout on Swallowed.
No, that's fine. I don't know. I thought it was, it's a fine song. I tell you what, it was between, I would concede that, if we put, Glycerine on the list, nobody's gonna listen to it. So, if we gotta pick like one of the singles, like if we put all the threes in order of what the singles are, Swallowed is like the top of them. So,
all right.
Yeah, out of the two that I begrudgingly put on, I'd rather have Swallowed than Glycerine.
Yeah. All right. Is there one of the threes that's jumping out at you, Christian?
Yeah, Machine Head.
Okay. Peter, you were the holdout on Machine Head. Any objections?
I'm fine with it.
All right, let's do that. So that brings us up to 7. I'd like to advocate here for Warm Machine, because it gets us something from Science of Things, number 1. Number 2, like we kind of mentioned, it's like, oh yeah, this is a Bush record, just so you know. And it kind of, I don't know, I don't think it was a single, but it would be nice to not do a single here, and I feel like this kind of does the trick. Any objections?
Yeah, I'm good with one. I don't have any objection to that.
All right. Let's do Warm Machine. That brings us up to 8. All right. So now let's get to the nitty-gritty here. There's 5 songs left. We as a group get 1, and then Brian gets the final say. So we've got Cold Contagious, Disease of the Dancing Cats, Glycerin, Mouth, Prize Fighter. I mean, when you're looking at it like this, Glycerin seems like the way out, right? Like, I mean, unless somebody really wants to go to bat for it, I feel like at this point in the game we can do without it.
Yeah, and we already have too many singles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with cutting it.
All right. Is there anything out of those that's kind of jumping out at you, Peter?
Either Cold Contagious or Disease of the Dancing Cats.
All right, Christian, if you had to pick between those two.
Easy. Disease of the Dancing Cats. I
love
mean, I was the only one who didn't have it, and it was literally my number 21.
I love it.
It's as close to a unanimous as it could be.
All right, so let's make that song number 9. All right, so we're gonna run down these 9 here, and then Brian will have final say. Everything Zen, Come Down, Greedy Fly, The People That We Love, A Tendency to Start Fires, Swallowed, Machine Head, Warm Machine, and Disease of the Dancing Cats. All right. Again, you know the rules, Brian. You don't have to pick something that's still alive, but there is a song sitting here that was a 3 that did not get in that I know you love. So where you want to go?
Yeah. I feel like this was set up so I wouldn't take Body out of the track because I can't not have Cold Contagious on this list. So Justin wins.
I will say this, definitely not on purpose. I did realize that that happened.
Cold Contagious has to be there. There's, like I said, I was gonna fight for it for number 1. So yeah, Cold Contagious, 100%.
All right, so we have our 10. I'm gonna run this down, and then we'll pick what's the 1. So we got Everything Zen, Come Down, Greedy Fly, The People That We Love, Tendency to Start Fires, Swallowed, Machine Head, Warm Machine, Disease of the Dancing Cats, and Cold Contagious. Pretty reasonably spread out. Not like, yeah, I mean, it's still pretty front heavy, but you know, there's a couple Signs of Things and a Golden State. So, of those 10, Brian, which one's the 1?
All right, so I'm not gonna go right to bat for Cold Contagious because
it didn't make the original list. So I'm gonna give it that concession. I will say if anybody else agrees with it for number one, I'm happy with that. I don't want to put everything then. That's just too cliche.
Yeah.
Or come down. I feel like those will just be like so. And I know we think about like the best of or this or that. And honestly, with the shows that have been happening so far, I'm 85% sure that a Bush song isn't gonna make it to the top 10 of the year anyway.
Yeah.
knowing the panel. But I'm gonna stick out for. I'm just gonna say, you know what? Let's just do what we all want, and let's just do a tendency to start fires.
Ooh, I like that. What do you think, Peter? What's the one?
I'm looking at Greedy Fly.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, that was my second choice: Tendency or Greedy Fly.
Wow. Okay. I did not.
Definitely going with Razor Blade, I think.
Yeah. All right, Christian, what do you think?
Those two are on my shortlist as well. Again, the same reasons about the singles from 16 Stone, although I would lean more towards Machine Head being in contention. But if we're going to avoid that, then it's the two that have been mentioned. I was thinking a tendency to start fires myself, but Greedy Fly is definitely on my shortlist as well. So I'm with the consensus, I think.
I mean, the only other one I would have put up was Swallowed, but I mean, like you said, that was more with the thought of, thinking about its chances in the end of the year conversation. But I don't think no matter what we put up, I don't think it unfortunately stands a true chance. Man, so the question is, do we want to go really weird and put Greedy Fly in there? like.
I don't think it's that weird. I mean, it's still got like, the bass verse and the loud chorus. And
yeah, I mean, but you're right. But I mean, like it's off the beaten path for what somebody might expect us to do. I think it's definitely one of those. Now the question is, I don't know which one to put my weight behind. I mean, if I'm doing this as a purist, as which one actually stands a chance, a tendency to start fires, I think has a chance. But if I just want them to listen to a Bush song that maybe they forgot existed or maybe didn't even know, Greedy Fly is up there. Somebody make the decision for me because I can't.
But I can go
my pick. Flip a coin.
Yeah, really.
All right. Well, let's do this. List them in order. The two in order, Brian.
To me, damn it. I think Tendency.
Okay, so Tendency and then Greedy.
Yeah.
Peter, put them in 1 to 2 order.
Greedy and Tendency.
All right. Christian?
I'm with you. It's really difficult. I think I'm going to lean towards picking the one that has more texture and difference and shows different sides of Bush. So that would be Greedy Fly.
Nice.
All right.
Oh my God.
Well, Justin, you can either make this awful and just pick Tendency, and then when we still have to split, or just go with Greedy Fly, and then I will likely concede because I'm fine with either one.
I think I'm gonna go with Greedy Fly here. There's something weird about it that it makes me feel like we're picking a weird choice. I know we mentioned like it has all the elements that you're looking for anyway, but I think the weird factor is heavily tied to the video, and it makes me feel like the song is weird, but it's not. But I do think it is a weird choice, and for that, I'm going to put my weight behind Greedy Fly. So Greedy Fly it is. Oh, that was way tougher than I expected. So, here, let me cue that up here and run this list down one last time. Greedy Fly, of all songs, is our number one. Everything Zen, Come Down, The People That We Love, A Tendency to Start Fires, Swallowed, Machine Head, War Machine, Disease of the Dancing Cats gets in, and Cold Contagious rounds out our 10. Just like that, we got 10, and let's let Greedy Fly get a moment in the sun. There we go. We have done it. Look, when I ask these questions, again, I understand that some of you aren't going to like the band I'm asking about, and it's fine to answer none. You're not really helping the conversation other than, the popularity lens, I guess. I would prefer you say none than come at me with, are you talking about Rush? That doesn't help me at all. Saying none at least tells me that you just don't like the band, and that's okay. So just a little something for you and me, and there we go. We've done it. We've turned you on to Bush. This is a great list, and put everything aside and actually listen to the list. And you may not become a Bush fan, but you will lay down your arms. You will, at least be like, okay, they're fine. They are what they are. Hey, man, maybe you want to come talk about a band? That's how almost everybody here got here. I invited them on because that's what we do. Is we like to talk music about music with everybody. So, if you go to legionstupid.com, you click shows, you click deprogrammed. Not even halfway down, there's a sign-up sheet. Tell me what band you want to talk about, and we'll get you in. It might take a little bit, but as long as it's a band we haven't talked about yet, we'll figure out a way to get you on. Boom, just like that. Also, if you're there, you can listen to the show. That would be super appreciated. And from there, you can actually join the Discord as well. All that at legionistupid.com. Very much appreciated. If you would like to support in another way, patreon.com/ohhijustin is a monetary way to support. $1 a month gets you in the door. It gets you access to different channels in the Discord. It gets you the conversation we're about to have after the fact, immediately after we're done. Gets you deprogrammed before the rest of the world, occasional Oh Hi Justin episodes, insight into what's coming up next, and also always welcoming your input on what's happening next. So keep that all in mind. We're a podcast. You can listen, wherever podcasts are downloaded. If you're listening on Spotify, 5-star rating would be awesome. And now you can do, it's not even Q&As anymore. You can leave a comment and I can respond to you. That's very cool. It's I can't believe it's just now happening, but now you can do that. And it definitely helps in the algorithm if you leave a comment on the episode. If you want to just leave, hey, this is what I would have done for 10, or I can't believe this song didn't make it, or great list, guys. Any comment like that would be appreciated. But again, 5 stars, also very helpful. Same thing for Apple Podcasts, 5 stars in a comment. Also, sharing is caring. And the best way to help is by telling somebody you listen to Deprogrammed. Hey, I listen to Deprogrammed, and you should too. It would mean the world to me if you would do that. And with that, Bush, learn them and love them, people. We'll see you next week. Bye.